I have a confession to make. I have an OC.
Oh. In this video, we are going to be glowing up our fans' OCs.
And to help us out, we're going to be using JustSketch.me.
Alicia's OC will be revealed at the end of the video.
So OCs are original characters that artists create and post on the internet. So we are going to be choosing a few of our favorite OCs submitted by our fans, and we're going to be glowing them up. Do you have an OC?
I have heaps.
Let's take a look. Oh my God, this is so cool. I love that this dog has got like full plate armor. He's so cool.
It's very World of Warcraft.
If one of us picks this character, we have to draw the dog as well.
Oh, the dog's definitely part of it.
It's an integral part of this character's personality.
Yes. Oh, Sassy.
She's so cool.
I thought it was a beautiful man.
A beautiful man.
Yeah. It's like a Legolas. Oh, it's a she.
Love it.
I love him.
Oh my God, I do not like this.
Oh, I want to do this one.
It's creepy. It's the eyes. Oh, you so want to do this one. Thank God, because I do not want to do this one. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
Dolly Parton?
Like vampire Dolly Parton meets Marilyn Monroe. Yeah. Oh, very Marilyn.
I'm just loving that sketch style.
Grumpy vampire. So I'm thinking of doing this Orc Ranger just because I want to draw the dog.
You're gonna do another Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, I think so. And you?
Oh, I am going with this guy. This is my man.
You're going full demon.
Oh yes, love him.
But this is quite open-ended because he doesn't have a pose and he doesn't have a backstory.
No,
so
but
they
say you
do anything with this.
Like you look into their eyes and you see their story, and there's so much in these eyes.
All right, so we've got our OCs ready to go.
Let's go.
Let's see what we can do. So the reason that I picked this OC is because he's got so many reference images, and because he has a dog, of course. He was formerly a raider named Scrom Doomsmash. And then he became a ranger called Marcus Rogers, which I think is the most hilarious thing because he had such a cool name and now he's got like the most basic name ever. It's a super interesting backstory and I could really take this in two ways. I could go with the epic D&D like ranger who's like hunting in the forest and is looking really cool. Or I could go with like the basic homebody orc who's just like having dinner with his wife at home, as you can see in the reference. So to decide where I wanted to go with my pose, I kind of really had to think like, what would this client want? And at the end of the day, I think he would want something really cool. So I decided to go with an epic ranger pose. At first glance, I went with this like super basic pose. He's kind of just standing in the outdoors, but there's a lot of super subtle posing techniques that I could use to kind of show off his backstory and make him seem a little bit more interesting and show his personality. So I decided to push one of his legs back and that sort of gave him like a mid-stride kind of look as if he's walking through the forest. I had him gazing off into the distance as if he's looking for his next kill. And I had him clutching his bow as if he's out hunting with his dog. So I decided to manually construct my pose in JustSketch.me. They have a whole bunch of really good pre-made poses, but I decided I wanted to finesse it a little bit and make it specific to this character. And what's more, JustSketch.me has a dog that you can add as well. Unfortunately, there's no armor for dogs in JustSketch.me, so I kind of had to wing it, but it was just such an important design feature that I wanted to add, so I made sure to add that later. So one super important thing when you're creating art for yourself or especially for a client is to make sure that you've got your key design features in place, and that sort of allows you to be a little bit more experimental with your style. So in this case, I knew he had a scar and those orc teeth and thick eyebrows and very specific hair. So as long as I made sure that I stuck to those key features, my style would not get in the way of the core of this character. The style that I went with today is like simple line work and blocky colors because I knew I wanted the focus to be on the character and not on my own style.
Something I really appreciate about your Marcus Rogers is there's so much subtlety in his pose and his facial expression. He's got that kind face going despite being an orc with huge teeth and a thick jaw. And his pose is not particularly dynamic, but it's still very engaged and engaging. Like, how do you achieve that?
Yeah, so there are some super like subtle things that you can add to the pose to make it seem a little bit more engaged, as you mentioned. So just a slight like bend of the arms and the bend of the knees kind of make it look like he's readying himself or he's sort of walking and he's, you know, he's clutching his tools, he's ready to go. In terms of expression is something that I've always kind of struggled with. I knew I wanted to go with this kind but determined, focused kind of expressions. So just slightly widening the mouth, so he's kind of smiling but not happy, he's just content with himself. Having his eyes sort of pushed upwards as if he's looking off into the distance.
Yeah, you've got like the forehead wrinkles as well.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is actually a key feature.
I think having these very arched and fluffy eyebrows also kind of helps with the approachability of this character.
And also I think it's the angle of the head.
So one thing that really helped me build my skill in this sort of area in using these micro expressions and micro sort of posing techniques to bring life to your character is just like fully simplifying your character. If you break down a face into like dots for the eyes and, you know, a line for the mouth, you can really sort of exaggerate things and simplify things. So then when you go back to a more realistic style, you sort of know, okay, the mouth gets wider when it smiles, or the eyes get smaller when they're more focused. Things like that that are often exaggerated in cartoons, but then you can use in your own style as well. So this is Marcus Rogers and his dog, Snarlfang, which is a way cooler name. I really hope I've done him justice because I absolutely love commissions and challenges like this. Now, before we go any further, you guys can probably tell that this video is sponsored by JustSketch.me. Now, we have both used JustSketch.me in another video, but we've also used it today to get a super quick pose reference for our artworks. This has meant that our art process has been quicker and more enjoyable for us.
It's not a 3D modeling tool, it's just a springboard so that you don't have to waste time looking for references or that perfect pose, you just gonna click and go. You can add multiple figures, you can attach props, and if you have the paid version, you even have really cool fantasy models like werewolves, dragons, skeletons. There's so much, we haven't even explored all of it.
It has a huge pose library with over 200 poses pre-built and ready to go.
It's totally free to use with no time limit, but if you want the expanded library, you can upgrade. With the OC I drew today, if I didn't have JustSketch.me, I would have spent a long time trying to figure out a pose because he didn't come with one. So JustSketch.me was actually a great help and a great inspiration for today's piece of mine.
It is super easy to use and it is fully compatible with iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows.
Sign up to JustSketch.me for free with no time limit.
Because the first 100 people who use the code INSERTART will get 20% off JustSketch.me Pro. So if you're interested in getting this amazing reference tool, click the link in the description below.
So I immediately just fell in love with this guy. I went through the pose library and decided, all right, let's use that to help generate a bit of backstory. I ended up with the necromancer pose. It just had like the hands in a way that immediately sparked this idea of this fella coming out of a pool of some kind of arcane power.
I see it.
He doesn't have a name yet. I'm gonna leave that to our community and our Discord to name him. Please leave comments for names or join us in the Discord. I feel like he is 17 and 500 years old. Like whenever he encountered this arcane power, he was 17 and that was 500 years ago.
He's like a vampire or something.
Something like
They're
that.
Just immortal.
And why is he wearing like a hoodie of all things? And also why are his eyes like that? And why does he have like this Voldemort nose?
I think with this character, there's some things that I'd rather not know. I love how you've done the hands.
I don't.
They're so like gnarled and you can tell he's got like a lot of muscles activating in his hands. I really like you've got this like bend in the fingers that gives it a sort of like claw kind of look. And the way that the wrist sort of bends, especially on the hand on the right, I think it looks really cool.
Thanks. Because it's meant to be an evilish piece, you want to accentuate the angles, the unnatural bend of things, kind of push those, you know?
So do you have any tips for like drawing more difficult anatomy sort of things like the hands?
You need to be intentional about analyzing your strengths and weaknesses. Once you can pinpoint areas to practice, then you can have focused study. So let's say I want to practice hands. I want to practice it in a neutral pose, and then I want to practice side view, front view, back view, different poses, and then I want to practice like realistic coloring and shading on hands. And what you need to do is try and get more and more specific with what you want to practice. Like for me, you know, I did this piece, I was comfortable with the face because portraits are always my go-to. I'm not really happy with the hands. I'm not really happy with the foreshortening. Like it's getting there, but I feel, you know, it's at about 70%. There's so much I could do better. So now that I've pinpointed that, it's something that I can now go home and work on specifically.
So how did you imagine all of these details in this character when you've got such a simple reference image?
I kind of closed my eyes and just tried to get the vibe of the character. Obviously, he's coming from a much deeper, darker place. So what I had to nail was like the big picture issues, the pose, the composition, the shapes, the coloring, the lighting scheme, because that's what creates your mood.
I do think that the lighting from below and like the small touches, like the reddening of the nose and the cheeks and the lips, make him look a lot more realistic and give him a lot more form, but still stay true to the original design features.
Thank you. I wanted to stay true to that because I really love that design. I realized that one of the reasons the OC was as striking as it was is because it was simple. The fact that his face is so like plain and flat and almost skull-like, there's very little detail in the line work, that makes him even more uncanny and uncomfortable. By keeping everything under detailed, that's where you get the black eyes and the like maniacal grin really standing out. I really love this guy. I know that when I go home tonight, I'm gonna be thinking about this character, and I know a name is gonna hit me at some point.
Oh my god, I hope I'm not thinking about him tonight. He's gonna give me nightmares.
I love him. If any of our audience have backstory ideas, please let us know in the comments. Love reading them. Or come join our Discord, fantastic community, and you also have the opportunity to submit art that we can work with.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, and the moment that I have been dreading. Showing you my OC. 3, 2, 1, go.
What?
Ta-da!
You can't, like, build up to this being some piece of trash and then draw this.
I think it's terrible.
So good.
I
Why?
had zero character design. I just thought that putting white antlers on a character and making her entirely white was character design.
Also, her antlers are wonky.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
This was back at the very start of my art career where I would only charge $6 for a background.
Does the number of dollars correspond to the number of trees you put in?
Pretty
it's
much,
like 10
yeah.
bucks for 10 trees.
It's how blurry the background is. If it's less blurry, it's more money.
Yeah.
So you can see I had like no anatomy knowledge. I just wanted to draw a cool character.
Your hands are actually really good.
Thank you. They're a little bit bony, but you know, they've got 5 fingers, so that's better than AI. I think the bear still holds up to this day. My idea is that she's like a forest druid who like has a pet bear and just like wanders through the forest all day. Basically living my dream. I didn't get as far to give her a name though. So if you guys have any name suggestions, definitely leave them in the comments. If you guys would like to see me redraw this OC of mine, please let us know, because I would absolutely love to give her an upgrade. So that is all we've got for you today. Let us know how we did. Let us know what you think about the OCs, if we made them better, if we made them worse somehow.
Come join us on Discord. If I get more backstory to this character, I promise I'll post it there.
So all of our OC submissions were posted to us via Discord, so if you're interested in joining our little art community, check the link in the description below. And last but not least, thank you to our wonderful Patreons. I keep saying Patreon, it's patron. Our wonderful patrons.
It's been like 6 months, Alicia.
I'm so sorry. Just this morning, me and Ariel did a masterclass to our master patrons where we got to look at your artworks and give some advice and critique and just talk about your art journey. Our wonderful master patrons, Albie the Floof, Melville and Timeblink, are our #1 supporters because they come to every masterclass without fail. So if you want to join in on the action, be sure to check out our Patreon.
Insert out!